Chapter 1471, could not help but worry. It was after summer and Zai Sheng's shirt wasn't thick at all. Within half a minute, Zai Sheng clearly felt that the spot where Qiaonan buried her face in was completely soaked by her tears. Qiaonan cried silently, and this was especially heart-wrenching for Zai Sheng. "Stop crying. Mom will bring the triplets out soon. How are you going to explain to them if they see you like this? At the very least, we should learn from Elder Lin and not let the triplets suffer too much, right?" Qiaonan rubbed her face against Zai Sheng's shirt. Her eyes were still red. "Go and change your clothes." The color of the shirt where her tears had dampened was darkened. If they didn't want the triplets to find out so early, of course she couldn't let them see Zai Sheng in this attire. Zai Sheng poured a cup of warm water for Qiaonan. After watching Qiaonan take a sip, he went upstairs to change his clothes. Under the help of their grandma, the triplets wiped the sweat off their faces and bodies. However, their father had changed his clothes. "Dad, you took a shower." San Bao tilted her head and looked at Zai Sheng curiously. "So early?" "San Bao, the clothes you wore when you returned are different from what you are wearing now as well. The shirt Dad wore previously is dirty, so he changed into another one. However, don't worry. Dad will wash his own clothes." Zai Sheng pinched his daughter's nose as he saw her thoughts clearly. His three children were classic examples of the powerful can do whatever they want, the weak are not allowed to do anything. If their clothes became dirty, Nan Nan could wash them. If his clothes became dirty, he had to be self-sufficient and not let Nan Nan get too tired. Seeing that she didn't get her way, she snorted unhappily. "I'm hungry and I want to eat." "Grandma, Mom, I'm hungry." Dad was the most detestable. Every time he teased her and she teased him back, he never seemed to have fallen into her trap. Once she wasn't happy, she would change the topic. Miao Jing smiled and held her granddaughter's hand so that she was sitting next to her and could place some food into her bowl. Compared to the smart De Bao, Miao Jing naturally preferred to take care of the soft and cute granddaughter. Bao and San Bao behaved quite normally. Qiaonan and De Bao made people feel that they were quieter. Zai Yai looked at Zai Sheng. Zai Sheng shook his head, signaling that it wasn't a good time to say anything now and to ask questions only after dinner. As such, the dinner table at the Zai family today was quieter than usual. Even Bao and San Bao no longer played around. When Zai Yai was eating, he paid special attention to the old master. He noticed that old master Zai was eating the same amount of food as usual and felt more relieved. After dinner, Zai Yai pulled Zai Sheng into the study room for a chat. Only then did he find out about Elder Linear. No wonder. Zai Yai had heard about some movements in the central government but didn't find out the details. After hearing from his son that Elder Lin was diagnosed with cancer, Zai Yai guessed that this happened only recently and understood everything. Elder Lin. He isn't young anymore. He has reached the country's designated retirement age. Nan Nan is not 30 years old and is in her heyday. It looks like Elder Lin has made some arrangements for Qiaonan. To have a daughter-in-law in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs was something to be proud of. Zai Yai knew that it had nothing to do with the Zai family that Qiaonan had reached where she was today. Qiaonan had relied on her own capabilities and her master, Lin Yuankong. Who wouldn't welcome a daughter-in-law who not only didn't cause trouble but also won glory for her parents-in-law? Back then, many people laughed at the Zai family for not being picky or being too arrogant. They had chosen a daughter-in-law who was powerless, poor, and not of any help to the Zai family at all. Aside from her face, she was without any positive traits. Those who laughed at Zai Sheng for being befuddled by lust back then were probably given so many slaps to their faces now that their faces were pretty much swollen. By the time Nan Nan really became the next Minister of Foreign Affairs, those people probably wouldn't have any face left to meet anyone outside. Qiaonan has a good relationship with Elder Lin. Even our three grandchildren love and respect this elder. If Elder Lin really Try and see if you can stay at home for the next few days. At this time, the four of them need your care. The comfort of others would be useless. Even if Xiao Dongliang came, Xiao Nan would cry more sadly if she saw him. That was because the person who passed away was an elder who treated her better than her birth father. Yes, I'm thinking of this as well. If Elder Lin was no longer around, he would worry about leaving Nan Nan alone. The three children's emotions would be especially strong as well, and the house would be in a mess. After keeping away the joy that his daughter-in-law was about to become the next minister, Zai Yayawai, who was also a grandpa, naturally thought more about the young people like Zai Sheng when facing such life and death issues. He didn't know when, or which day in the future, would such a thing happen to him as well. Will Hua Hua be back this time around? The Zai family had a good relationship with Elder Lin, or Elder Lin didn't have other relatives. If he really passed away, Zai Hua naturally had to come back and send him off. It's the triplets' birthday tomorrow. Zai Hua should already be at the Tian family today, Zai Sheng said definitively. Zai Yayawai nodded. Okay, let's do this. You'll accompany the old master tonight? I'll do it tomorrow. After all, he was no longer young. The muscles on his body had stiffened after sleeping on the floor for a night. If he did so for 2 consecutive nights, Zai Yayawai was worried that before something happened to old Master Zai, he would have to go to the traditional Chinese medicine hall first and do acupuncture. Okay. Of course, Zai Sheng wouldn't refuse. Even if Zai Yayawai didn't mention it, he would do so as well. Sleep early tonight. Zai Sheng could smell the strong medicinal wine on Zai Yayawai's body. He was not only good with his eyes and ears but also his nose. Zai Sheng kept old Master Zai company tonight while Qiao Nan continued to sleep alone. She lay alone on the big bed and looked at the bright moon peeping through the window curtains. Qiao Nan's sadness turned into a river. If something happened to old Master Zai, he would be guarded by his son, accompanied by his grandson, and coaxed by his great-grandchildren. However, her master's health was deteriorating and he didn't even have a close relative by his side. Chapter 1472, Mom is the best. She had always said that she would take care of her master in his old age. In this current situation, would it still be considered as her taking care of her master? Although they were both elderly and were in poor health at the same time, old Master Zai and old Lin were treated quite differently. Qiao Nan pitied old Lin for this difference in treatment and was in greater misery for not being able to fulfill her promise to stay by old Lin's side and take care of him while he was ill. As a disciple, she had not fulfilled her responsibilities. The next day was the children's birthday, but the Zai family was not joyful. Instead, the mood was somber. Zai Hua, who had just returned home, was unaware of the situation. Upon seeing his son whom he had been separated from for a long time, Zai Hua happily held Xiao Bao in his arms and forcefully kissed his son's face. Xiao Bao, did you miss me? Xiao Bao, who was being hugged too tightly, pouted and disgruntledly wiped off the saliva from his face. I did. Mom, when are you free? Can you send me to the nursery? Every time he went to school, his mother had never appeared. All the other children in the nursery had joked that he was an orphan. Sure, baby. Zai Hua was extremely proud. After all, he was like a piece of herself. Even though she did not spend much time with her son still treasured her as his biological mother. Mom has a long holiday this time. Even after National Day is over, I won't leave. I'll send you to school then. How's that? Then, during the National Day period, I'll bring you over to Grandma's house for a few days and play with you for a while. Mom, you're the best. I love you. Xiao Bao's eyes twinkled as he let out a squeal in his baby voice. His chubby little hands held onto Zai Hua's face and he puckered up his cheeks to kiss her. Mom, why are you only back now? I missed you so much. With Xiao Bao's sweet talk, Zai Hua and Xiao Bao's intelligence and expression completely changed. Zihua was up in arms by Xiao Bao's cajoling, and after a few kisses from him, Zihua was so absorbed that she could not tell the directions anymore. In an instant, the whole Tian family could only hear the sounds of Zihua and Xiao Bao chatting. Xiao Bao would ask a question and Zihua would reply. Then, Xiao Bao would say, "Mom, you're the best." Zihua would then smooch Xiao Bao's face, replying that Xiao Bao was even better. "This fruit is so fresh. Auntie bought it today. Try it." Seeing that his own wife was about to erupt out of jealousy, Father Tian quickly took a piece of fruit and fed it to Mother Tian in an attempt to appease her. "I ate it. It's not particularly sweet. It's a little sour, like the kind that you like." This was not just a little sour. It was like a whole sea of vinegar that could drown someone in it. Was it abnormal for a son to stick to his biological mother? Even though Zihua did not spend as much time with Xiao Bao as compared to his wife, it could not be helped since Zihua was Xiao Bao's biological mother and had grown up with Zihua's milk. How could it possibly be the same? After she had spent enough time with her son, Zihua carried Xiao Bao and said, "Xiao Bao, let's go to bed earlier today. It's your brother's and sister's birthday tomorrow. We have to celebrate for them." "Okay. I want to sleep with Mom tonight." Xiao Bao obediently sat within Zihua's embrace. That sense of security made Xiao Bao feel as though he was being hugged by his father rather than his mother. Xiao Bao did not understand. It clearly felt different when his uncle and aunt hugged him, yet he got the same feeling when his mom and dad hugged him. "Good boy." Zihua smiled serenely. "So what kind of gift is Xiao Bao planning to give to your brothers and sister tomorrow? Have you prepared it already?" "Yes." Xiao Bao nodded obediently. "Grandma took me and we picked them out together. One each for Da Bao, Er Bao, and San Bao." Xiao Bao held out his small hand, counting each name with a finger. He held up 3 fingers just as he finished saying the names of the 3 children. Zihua was pleasantly surprised. "Xiao Bao, you can count?" Xiao Bao smiled widely. "Of course. From 1 to 10. The atmosphere between the mother and son was great and they returned to their room while chatting. "Mom, Xiao Bao's accompanying Hua. I'll accompany you." Tian Dong sat beside the Empress Dowager of the Tian family. "Mom, eat these fruits. When you're done, I'll go cut some more for you." Normally, just the Chiao family and the 3 children of the Zai family were enough to make his mother feel sore. Now that Hua was back, his mother's mood was sure to be even worse. Mother Tian's words dripped with jealousy. "Accompany me? It's rare that your wife is back. I thought that the 2 of you would only have eyes for Zihua. Would you still remember that you still have your mother around? It's not easy. I didn't mean it. Forget it. Just go accompany your wife and son. I still have your dad." Most importantly, what she needed was for her grandson to accompany her. Not her son. In the presence of her grandson, she could not care less for her son and husband. Now that Mother Tian had said that, Tian Dong could not rebuke her, but Father Tian could. "Look at what you're saying. You don't sound like an elder. Are there mothers-in-law who compete with their daughters-in-law for affection? Aren't you afraid that other people might make a joke of you because of this? What Dongzi suggested sounds good. Xiao Bao accompanies his mother, so your son is going to accompany you." Mother Tian understood that, but it was another thing to accept it. "Forget it. I've seen through it. You 3 are in cahoots against me. I'm just an outsider. It's late and I'm sleepy. I don't want to spend time with any of you. It's too frustrating." Even though Mother Tian's tone was curt, at least she did not continue throwing her tantrum and instead decided to go to bed. Father Tian and Tian Dong breathed a sigh of relief. "Your mom's temper is getting worse. Technically, your mom's menopause should be over, right? Why was she still always throwing tantrums?" Tian Dong felt a little awkward. "I think that ever since Mom returned from abroad, she's had too much free time. It's only natural that her mind will wander. As long as his father found something for his mother to do, his mother might no longer throw tantrums. Dad, why don't you take this opportunity during the National Day holiday and bring Mom on a holiday to have some fun? Don't worry about anything at home. Tiandong had not suggested this flippantly. He knew that Jiaonan had gotten Xi Peng to use this method to appease Feng Cheng. Although his mother was older than Feng Cheng, Tiandong felt that they were both women, so the results of such a method should be similar. Father Tian hesitated. Will that be okay? I'm fine with it, but the question is whether your mother will be willing to go with me. You should know too. Ever since Xiao Bao was born, we're all less important than Xiao Bao. Xiao Bao is the most precious in your mom's heart. Will she be willing to leave Xiao Bao behind and go on a holiday with me? Chapter 1473, It is best to be content. The last few sentences made Father Tian feel aggrieved. Now, in this family, they had no status anymore. In other words, they could not compare to Xiao Bao. Tiandong patted his father on the shoulder and encouraged him. Just try it. It's been long since we had a National Day holiday. Even if Hua Hua didn't come back, knowing Xiao Bao, he would definitely pester Mom to bring him over to the Zai family's house to play. Since Xiao Bao won't be around, Mom will be bored to death either way. Maybe if you tell her that, she might agree. Dad, I believe in you. You can do it. He thought about how his parents were already advanced in age. When they had left China for America that year, they had not exactly done it voluntarily. Now that old Master Tian was no longer around, his uncle of his could no longer play any tricks on his family. As such, his family had a much better life in these past 2 years. But it could be due to the lack of such worries that his mother had been too bored and her temper had gotten worse. When they had first arrived in America, Tiandong remembered that the three of them lived a very tough life as a typical resident, let alone doing business there. At that time, China had not developed yet, and to a certain extent, there had been racial discrimination against Asians. Tiandong had already heard of the insult f***ing pig when he was young. When Father Tian arrived in America with no roots there, he had to start from scratch. Gradually, he expanded the family business. At that time in a foreign country, Father Tian not only struggled with his finances but also with interpersonal relationships. One could only imagine how tough Father Tian's life was in the first few years that he started his business in America. In order for Father Tian to focus on his business, Mother Tian did her best to run the household on her own. Moreover, she also took it upon herself to help out in the business and treated herself like a regular employee. She earned little but did a lot, toiling alongside Father Tian. So the Tian couple suffered and endured through a lot while they were young but did not have many good days. Thinking about that, Tiandong felt that it would be good for his father to bring his mother around the country for a tour to see the great rivers and mountains in the country, the unique scenery, or just enjoy the majestic atmosphere. Father Tian hesitated. He had toiled for so many years, and now that he was old, he did not want to lead a tough life. At their age, if they did not exercise more, they might lose all mobility in the future. How about I go for a tour of China with your mom? He had had countless opportunities to travel abroad in the past. When Father Tian went on business trips, he would always bring Mother Tian along. After all, he always needed a female partner for evening balls. Father Tian did not say much to Mother Tian, unlike his elder brother. In order to avoid unnecessary trouble, Father Tian either chose not to bring a female companion or only brought Mother Tian along. At that time, flying was always for business matters. Even though they visited dozens of places, the couple never had the chance to walk around and go sightseeing. They always had to make the most of their time and seal the deal. After finalizing their agreements, they would have to implement it in their business as soon as possible to allow the production to be put into operation. So it could be said that the Tian Corporation was built by such efforts of the Tian couple. It was because of this that Father Tian was moved when he heard Tian Dong's suggestion. This time, the couple would be able to walk around freely to enjoy the scenery around the country. They would not be in a rush, as they would if they were to take a plane. I'll try. Although Father Tian was moved, he did not dare to commit to it. If I try, I'll probably be able to convince her. Your mom has been with me this whole time. It's been hard on her. When we were younger and I was running the business, if she was not helping me out, then she would be taking care of the family. If I think about it, I've never really spent much time with your mom. It's really been hard on her. Mother Tian, who had been standing by the staircase, cupped her mouth. With reddened eyes, she silently returned to her room. Initially, she had seen that her grandson had such a close relationship with her son and daughter-in-law, completely forgetting about his grandma. Every time her grandson went to his other grandmother's house, he would refuse to return, making Mother Tian's heart ache tremendously. But Mother Tian returned to her room and realized that she had been so angry that she had not even drunk a sip of water. Her throat was hoarse and she was not going to torture herself, so she intended to go downstairs for a cup of water. But she had not expected to overhear the father and son discussing her when she reached the staircase landing. To Mother Tian, who was still fuming, her first reaction to the duo talking about her was that these two were saying bad things about her behind her back. Otherwise, what could they possibly be saying only now that she had returned to her room? Mother Tian wanted to listen to what they had to say and then talk it out with the father and son. Her grandson was still young, so she could forget about it. It was understandable for him to be close to her mother and his mother's family. When he grew older, Xiao Bao would naturally understand that his paternal grandmother's family was the most important to him. But how could these two men, her husband and her son, gang up against her? How could they treat her as an outsider and favor Zihua? With that, Mother Tian began eavesdropping while raging internally. But who would have known? As she continued listening, Mother Tian realized that these two men were not speaking ill of her but talking about how they would have the older Tian bring her on a holiday, while the younger Tian take care of the family. At this moment, Mother Tian's anger dissipated, but only a little. Because she knew that the duo only had such an idea because she had thrown a tantrum. But no matter what, it was good as long as the father and son did not simply favor Zihua because she had given birth to Xiao Bao. Moreover, the father and son were just trying to coax her. If they tried their best but she was still unhappy, there was really no way she could continue living in this family. It would not be her that would not be able to survive but all the other family members. She was not going to be such a stubborn and callous person. But when Mother Tian heard what Father Tian said softly, Mother Tian was truly moved. It had not been a smooth sailing journey for Father Tian to develop his business from nothing into a booming empire. Mother Tian had seen too many men who had simply abandoned their wives who had stuck with them through thick and thin and found mistresses or one-night stands after they had become successful, but Father Tian had never done so. Chapter 1474, Mom, you are really weird. It was rare to find someone with strict self-discipline like Father Tian, who was loyal only to his wife, who had shared her husband's hard lot. Under such a comparison, Mother Tian always counted her blessings. Sometimes, when she lost her temper, she might not be willing to heed others' words. However, if the person who was persuading her was Father Tian, she would often restrain her temper. Those women and friends in the same circle were often envious of Mother Tian. They even persuaded her to count her blessings. It was rare for her to meet such a great man like Father Tian, and she had to cherish him well and not lose her temper. Of course, if she couldn't keep Father Tian by her side anymore, at least she was still better than this group of people. She had more better days and less worrying days. There was a saying that it was good to have someone. If not, don't ever lose yourself as well. In their circle, most of the men were like this. Mother Tian was already much more fortunate than them. Mother Tian herself thought that way as well after persuading many people. What was lucky was that until Mother Tian became a grandmother, Father Tian never had any other woman but her by his side. After listening to Father Tian's sincere and doting words, as a normal woman, how would Mother Tian not be moved? Father Tian and Tian Dong didn't seem to know that Mother Tian had heard most of their conversation. Father Tian was worried that Mother Tian wouldn't agree to him and had already drafted a script in his mind. Who knew that after he returned to his room and looked into Mother Tian's eyes, she gave him an affirmative answer within a minute. Father Tian had to keep back the persuasive words he had in mind. I was saying I want to go on a vacation with you. It might be domestic travel or foreign travel. If it's domestic travel, we won't return until half a month later. If it's foreign travel, you won't see Xiao Bao for a long time. Didn't his wife treat Xiao Bao as her precious and wanted to see him as much as possible? Besides me, the grandma, Xiao Bao still has his birth father, birth mother, and so many relatives in the in-laws family. It couldn't be that no one will take care of Xiao Bao if I'm not around, right? When I was young, it was tough for me to accompany you around. When I'm old, it couldn't be that my purpose is to help you take care of your grandson, right? I'm not that foolish. There are so many nice and fun places. I won't lock myself up at home. Mother Tian said these words with her back facing Father Tian so that he couldn't see her slightly red eyes. Furthermore, it's popular for young people nowadays to go on a honeymoon. To think we had lived in the US for over 20 years. After being married to you for so long. We haven't been on a travel before, let alone a honeymoon. I find it late that you're mentioning this only now. Father Tian didn't understand why it was so easy to talk to his wife today. However, since it was rare that she had agreed, of course he wouldn't probe into the details. If he asked too many questions, Mother Tian might feel irritated and not be willing to travel again. If you agree to it, I'll plan the itinerary tomorrow and we can fly off the day after. Tomorrow was the triplets' birthday. The Zai family and the Tian family were in-laws. Seeing that National Day and Mid-Autumn Festival were happening together, both families should find the opportunity to have a meal together. Coincidentally, the triplets' birthday became this opportunity. On the triplets' birthday, the Tian family would have a meal with the Zai family. On Mid-Autumn Festival, the Tian family could have a meal together in their family of 5 and not be disturbed by others. As such, Father Tian could only book the tickets and plan the itinerary for this trip tomorrow. Furthermore, it was already midnight. Even if Father Tian wanted to find out more details, there wasn't anyone around to provide him with such information. After the couple finished talking, Father Tian and Mother Tian slept exceptionally well. While Father Tian and Mother Tian were sleeping peacefully, tonight was considered a passionate night for the newlyweds, Zihua and Tian Dong, who were young and full of vigor. When Tian Dong hugged his wife agitatedly and rolled around in bed, he was thankful that Xiao Bao had already developed the habit of sleeping in a bed alone, just like the triplets. If his son was also sleeping on this big bed, how would he dare to be so impudent? He had given all this passion and savings, which had been accumulated for long, to his wife without any reservations. Wife, I saved a lot of grains this time around. You have to satisfy me well. Zihua's face was charming. Upon hearing Tian Dong's words, she couldn't help but give him a kick. If you want to do it, just do it. Why are you saying so much nonsense for? Well? Would I be afraid of you? She had great stamina. What was there for her to be afraid of? As a female soldier, Zihua was confident of her stamina and didn't put Tian Dong's words to heart. As such, this couple went all out the entire night. The next day, when the sun was shining brightly, they were late. Xiao Bao was so angry that he climbed up the bed, pulled open their blanket, and shaped his hands in the form of a trumpet to wake them up. Dad! Mom! It's the triplets' birthday today. We said before that we would go over to celebrate with them. Get up, get up! Get up quickly! Otherwise, we won't make it in time. Seeing that his parents didn't move, Xiao Bao was so angry that he spread his legs and sat on Tian Dong's waist, as if riding a horse. He kept jumping up and down, treating Tiandong's body like a trampoline. Tiandong and Zihua naturally woke up due to the noise their son was making since they hadn't died yet from the passionate night before. Zihua was blushing. After seeing her son, it was rare for her tone to become gentle. Xiao Bao's awake? You're earlier than Dad and Mom. Xiao Bao, why are you so great? Xiao Bao couldn't help but shiver, shocked by his mom. Mom, why are you speaking so weirdly today? You're weirder than yesterday. Xiao Bao was long used to his mom's arms being similar to his dad's, and that the way his mom spoke was similar to that of his dad and grandpa. Xiao Bao was willing to cooperate yesterday as Zihua had taken the initiative, offering to bring him over to the Zai family's house to stay for a few days. How would Xiao Bao, who was extremely happy, care that Zihua's tone was different from before? Of course, Xiao Bao would find that whatever Zihua said was good. After the night, such a joy had cooled down in Xiao Bao's heart. Zihua used an even gentler tone than yesterday to talk to Xiao Bao. Xiao Bao wasn't used to it. Zihua raised her eyebrows. Weird? How is it weird? I clearly saw that every time your aunt talked to you in such a manner, you were very happy. She even gave birth to a child. Of course she had to learn from Jiaonan to be an understanding wife and loving mother and to become gentler. Chapter 1475, Just teach it accordingly. Zihua had heard about Xiao Bao's attitude toward Mother Tian. Although Zihua was not jealous like Mother Tian, she still felt uncomfortable knowing that her own son preferred someone else rather than her. Today, Zihua was even willing to try things that irked her in the past for the sake of her son. Seeing how her son liked Jiaonan, she tried learning from Jiaonan too. She wanted him to know that she was the one who gave birth to him. No matter what, she did not want to behave like her mother-in-law who could not do anything even after seeing that Xiao Bao preferred someone else. Zihua had thought it through. It was rare that she had the time to return home, so acceding to her son's request from time to time was very necessary. But something unexpected happened. They had been fine the previous day, but today, Xiao Bao's words dealt a strong blow to Zihua. Even though it had been harmonious between the mother and son the previous day, in Xiao Bao's eyes, he did not think that she was gentle, only weird. How could this be possible? Auntie. Xiao Bao did not even need to think. No, Auntie doesn't speak like that. Her voice doesn't sound like that. When Auntie speaks, her tone is always jovial, not like that. You're not Auntie. You're my mom. How could his mom be like his auntie? His mom could never become his auntie. With Xiao Bao repeatedly chanting this like a monk, Zihua not only had a headache but also grew rather annoyed at her son. It's my fault as a mom. You're only 3 years old, not yet 4. How could you possibly understand what I meant? Fine, go find your grandma for breakfast. Mom and Dad will join you soon. Then, we'll go to your maternal grandma's house and Xiao Bao can play with your cousins. How's that? Okay. This was Xiao Bao's ultimate goal. Upon hearing that his mom was going to wake up and was even going to bring him to his maternal grandma's house, Xiao Bao obediently climbed down from his father's body, put on his slippers, and ran downstairs to find his grandma for breakfast. Okay, Xiao Bao's gone. Hurry and come in. Zihua had woken up early but pretended to sleep in front of her son. Her hands secretly moved to her chest naughtily to tempt Tiandong. If your son comes back and makes a fuss, I won't be able to help you. You'll have to explain to him why we're sleeping without any clothes. Because the two of them had been entirely naked. It was inconvenient for them to get up with Xiao Bao around. They were afraid that Xiao Bao would see something. It would be especially embarrassing for Tiandong. Zihua was not an ordinary woman. She was a cheetah with claws. It was in no way easy for Tiandong to take advantage of Zihua. While Tiandong satisfied himself physically and mentally, he also sustained many injuries all over his body. There were scratches by Zihua, even bites by Zihua. Those injuries looked rather pitiful. Tiandong was worried that if his son were to see him in this state, he would ask if the couple had a good relationship and whether they had been fighting. Tiandong did not know if he should give his son the correct answer and expose his son to sex education at such a young age. The reason why he was so pathetic was not that he had fought with someone but, rather, because he was too close to his wife. In this aspect, Tiandong's mindset was more westernized. He felt that there was nothing wrong with telling Xiao Bao about it. Unfortunately, Zihua did not agree. She was unwilling for Tiandong to tell her son that. With Zihua stopping him, Tiandong was not hesitant and in a dilemma about how to explain it to his son. Since there was no good way of doing it, they might as well hide under the blanket to prevent their son from finding out and asking questions. What's there that we can't explain? Just follow what I say. We might as well tell him at a younger age. There's nothing bad about it. If Xiao Bao learns about it earlier, he'll be good like his father and find a good wife. After Xiao Bao left, Tiandong got up quickly and walked to his closet to get his clothes. No way. Xiao Bao is only 3 years old. Even if you teach him now, he might not understand. If Xiao Bao leaks it and tells someone else about it, I'll lose all dignity. In terms of her dignity, Zihua's personality was rather masculine, but it did not mean that she would be flippant and negligent in everything that she did. When it came to the topic of sex, the Chinese people were rather shy, and so was Zihua. Dignity? You're talking about dignity. Tiandong did not know whether to laugh or cry. I think Xiaonan has done a good job in this respect. She's younger than you, but she is really a better mother than you are. I remember that when the 3 children were Xiao Bao's age, Xiaonan already instilled some gender awareness in them. Now that they've grown up, De Bao and Er Bao know that San Bao is a lady and they take better care of her when playing. When boys play with San Bao, De Bao and Er Bao will always stand in the way. Once, a nursery classmate wanted to kiss San Bao and the two of them started throwing tantrums. De Bao and Er Bao immediately taught that kid a lesson. Tiandong remembered this incident especially clearly. At that time, Xiao Bao was still babbling and unable to speak clearly, and his teeth were still growing out. Once he heard that De Bao and Er Bao had punched the person who had bullied San Bao, Xiao Bao immediately waved his little fist around without hesitation, expressing his wish to beat the person too. Only when Xiao Bao returned and mumbled it in confusion did Tiandong learn about this incident. Thinking about it, Xiao Bao should be a few months older than the 3 children were when that incident happened. Xiao Bao is in the intermediate class now. When he's in the older class and in primary school, he'll definitely have to learn about this, right? The children were going to use separate restrooms in the future. Zihua rolled her eyes. I spend so little time at home. You spend much more time at home than me. How's this? If you really think that it'll be better to teach Xiao Bao, you do it. I only have one request. Do it when I'm not at home. Nan Nan had taught it too. It could not go wrong. But Zihua felt that Xiao Bao was her son. If Xiao Bao were to gradually recognize the difference between genders and ask an awkward question, how would she as a mother answer? Anyway, Tiandong was a man. Educating their son on matters like that should be Tiandong's job. So there was nothing wrong with passing this task on to Tiandong. Deal. Tiandong agreed with a smile. He had always felt that it was always better to learn about such things earlier rather than later. When Tiandong brought his whole family of 5 in his car to the Zai family, his face was beaming with joy. Chapter 1476, The old was not as valuable as the son. As soon as his grandma placed him down, Xiao Bao kicked his short legs and ran toward the Zai family. Brothers and sister. Xiao Bao is here to celebrate your birthday. The 4 adults had just gotten out of the car when Xiao Bao was already nowhere to be seen. Mother Tian sighed. He really likes his brothers and sister. The children from the Tian family were to be blamed. None of them liked Xiao Bao. Some even openly bullied Xiao Bao and snatched his things away. If there were smarter children in the Tian family to play with Xiao Bao, how would Xiao Bao have such a good relationship with the triplets from the Zai family? Mom! Zai Hua stood next to Mother Tian and prepared to enter the Zai family with her, unlike her son who didn't understand or say anything and just left Mother Tian alone to run into the house first. Indeed, Zai Hua was not restrained enough and was like a tomboy. However, this didn't mean that she was unschooled in the ways of the world. Seeing that Mother Tian looked a little uncomfortable, at least she, as a daughter-in-law, wouldn't rush to meet her parents and family. Instead, she kept by her mother-in-law's side obediently and tried to win some brownie points. Yes, let's go in. Indeed, Zai Hua looked more like a woman standing by her side quietly. Mother Tian's face immediately softened as if she didn't bother with Xiao Bao's heartlessness. She entered the Zai family together with Zai Hua. The father and son from the Tian family saw this situation and smiled in relief. Tian Dong said proudly, "I've said this long ago. Hua Hua looks like a scatterbrain, but that's just her appearance. If Hua Hua was really that pure and innocent, even if father-in-law had protected her, she wouldn't have stayed for a long time and held so many important positions in the army." His wife was good at everything. Except for her EQ, which was a little low, there were no issues with her IQ at all. Father Tian nodded. "One's your mom, and the other's your wife. You should understand them clearly and completely. Let's go. If we walk slower, your precious son would probably cause trouble." Xiao Bao kept saying that they must not be late to celebrate with the Zai family's triplets. Otherwise, they would be unhappy. This morning, not only did Xiao Bao run to his parents' room to wake them up, but he even went to his grandparents' room as well, waking them up with sweet kisses. When Xiao Bao woke the two of them up, he also said something similar. That was why Father Tian knew why Xiao Bao felt so anxious. So be it. Would I be scared? Who exactly was the father and who was the son? Father Tian smiled. How stubborn. If Xiao Bao really cries and no one can coax him, Qiao Nan would coax him. If Xiao Bao cries until his throat becomes hoarse, you can just commit suicide to repay your sins. By then, your mother won't spare your life and your wife won't give you good looks. Xiao Bao wasn't just his wife's precious. Zai Hua's love for Xiao Bao would only be more than his wife. Compared to Xiao Bao, he had never won. His wife had always been biased towards Xiao Bao. Similarly, if Xiao Bao really threw tantrums, he wanted to see if his son could really hold it up and not be defeated by his grandson's cries. Tian Dong twitched his lips and helplessly followed the footsteps of Father Tian. He was stubborn, but the truth was the truth. The truth was if his mom and Zai Hua were both present, Tian Dong really didn't have the guts to provoke Xiao Bao. If Xiao Bao cried, his mom was still all right. At most, she would just scold him. However, if he were to fall into Hua Hua's hands, a layer of skin would have to be removed even if he managed to survive. Dad, you're walking really slowly. Even Grandpa is faster than you. Once they entered the Zai family's house, Xiao Bao's words of disdain traveled into everyone's ears. Even great-grandpa walks faster than you. Mom said that you have to exercise with us as well. In the future, you can box with me. You can let great-grandpa teach you. It's very easy to learn. I've learned it as well. You can definitely do so too. After you get a hang of it, your walking speed would definitely be faster than now. Tian Dong, whose father had guessed correctly, was speechless. Was this his son? Was this his biological son? How was there a son who criticized his birth father like this? Brothers, sister, happy birthday! Xiao Bao specially chose these. Take a look. Do you like them? After complaining about the speed his dad walked, Xiao Bao diligently took out the 3 gifts he had prepared and placed them one by one in front of the triplets. Remove the wrapper quickly. See if you like them. Thank you, Xiao Bao. Picking up his own present, De Bao wasn't in an especially good mood. However, he felt embarrassed to reject Xiao Bao's kind intentions. Furthermore, Master Grandpa's matters had nothing to do with Xiao Bao. He shouldn't vent his bad situation on Xiao Bao. After De Bao took the lead, Bao and San Bao happily picked up their presents. Xiao Bao, can we remove the wrapper? Xiao Bao nodded forcefully. Please do. If you don't, how would you know if you like it or not? After getting permission, Bao and San Bao tore the outer layer of packaging happily. Comparatively, De Bao, who was the eldest, was more refined. He carefully removed the outer packaging bit by bit. Upon seeing this situation, most people would compliment Bao and San Bao for being real. As for De Bao, they would say that he was sensible and polite. However, Zihua found that something was wrong. She touched Jiao Nan with her elbow. Nan, why do I feel that De Bao is a little unhappy today? Did he fail his exams, or did you punish him because of something? I don't mean to say this, but today is the triplets' birthday. If there's really something, you should put it aside and talk about it another day. You should let the three of them spend their birthdays happily today. It wasn't too late to talk about De Bao's mistake in the near future. Jiao Nan forced out a smile. No, De Bao is pretty good. He scored 99 in the admission test and came out on top. I guess De Bao didn't sleep well last night, thus he didn't look energetic today. Don't worry. Children are like that. He'll be fine after a few days. Definitely. She had survived all those hard times. Her days in the future would naturally get better and better. With her clenched fists, Jiao Nan's fingernails engraved deep marks on her palms. Chapter 1477, Elder Lin was here. Until now, Elder Lin had not yet appeared in the Zai family. It was unusual for the neighbor not to be the earliest among the rest to come over and celebrate the triplets' birthday. Early this morning, the triplets had already stretched out their necks and looked at the door from time to time or raised their ears to hear if there was any movement next door. Every time the three children heard a commotion but weren't sure where the sound came from, they widened their eyes and looked toward the door with eyes full of hope. However, they were left disappointed every time. Until now, Elder Lin had not knocked on the Zai family's door. De Bao didn't sleep, then what about you? You didn't sleep well as well. How would Zihua not have noticed Jiao Nan's strange look? I feel that you look worse than De Bao. The arrangement for this birthday party isn't that complicated. Furthermore, there's Mom and Auntie to help you. You shouldn't have been handling everything alone, thus tiring yourself out. Or are you tired because Zai Sheng was not sensible enough? Everyone was part of a couple who were madly in love. Zihua led a very sweet life. She felt that Jiao Nan and Zai Sheng must be the same as well. In the past, Zihua had seen clearly how much Zai Sheng, her brother, yearned for Jiao Nan. Now, their relationship shouldn't be worse off than before. After all, although they had been married for 7 years now, the way they interacted clearly showed that they were still in the stage of love. When Zihua said this, she meant it as a dirty joke. It was a pity that Jiao Nan didn't cooperate and couldn't smile. Nothing. Don't think too much. My workload has been heavier recently, so I'm more tired. I was also busy preparing for the triplets' birthday. I'm fine. I'll recover after resting for a few days. Oh, right, where's your master? Today's the triplets' birthday. I thought he would be the first to reach. So many people have arrived but he hasn't yet. How rare. Zihua had to touch the tender spot. She said it herself that Lin Yuankong would be more nervous about and value the triplets more than anyone else. Something was definitely wrong since Lin Yuankong hadn't arrived. Wasn't she trying to stir up trouble by mentioning this at this moment? Indeed, San Bao, who had been pampered by Lin Yuankong since she was young, couldn't hold back any longer. Her lips twitched, her eyes became red, and she sniffed. Mom, it's our birthdays today. Isn't Master Grandpa coming? Lin Yuankong had already spoiled Sanbao since she started drinking milk. She was never once ignored by Lin Yuankong. This time around, Sanbao felt that she was one of the most pitiful children to have celebrated her birthday. Mom! I want to see Master Grandpa. Bao frowned. Mom, is it because Master Grandpa is old and his legs are weak, thus he couldn't come over? Why don't we do this? Let's go next door and cut the cake at Master Grandpa's house, shall we? Bao knew that one's legs would become weaker as one grew older. Not to mention others, old Master Zai's walking speed was obviously much slower than before. When the children were 2 or 3 years old, they followed old Master Zai and walked outside. Even if old Master Zai deliberately slowed down, they had to run a few steps from time to time in order to keep up with him. Now, they had to slow down from time to time or deliberately stop to look at the flowers and grass on the roadside so that they could maintain a similar walking speed as old Master Zai. In this year, in Bao's memory, he had rarely seen Lin Yuankong walking on his own. When he headed out, he was in a wheelchair and someone was pushing him. Mom, why don't we get Master Grandpa to sit in that wheelchair and the 3 of us push him over? Which idea do you think is better? Bao was a cunning child. He wasn't trying to get Jiaonan to choose the better idea. He was just telling Jiaonan that today was their birthday, and regardless, they wanted to see Master Grandpa. If he couldn't come over, they would go over. As long as the end result was the same, it didn't matter to them where they cut the cake. As she listened, Zai felt that something was amiss. What's wrong with Elder Lin? In the past, Elder Lin cared about the triplets more than anyone else. Listening to Bao's tone, it seemed that the triplets hadn't seen him for a long time. Even the 3 children got impatient from waiting. How could Elder Lin hold it for so long and not come over to look at them? What's wrong? At this moment, the Zai family's door opened and Elder Lin's loud voice traveled over. Oh, have the presents been unwrapped? So early? I'm late. How about the cake? Have you blown the candles? Master Grandpa. At this moment, Bao and Sanbao were extremely happy. They smiled and pounced on Lin Yuankong, who was seated in the wheelchair. Lin Yuankong hurriedly stretched his hand out and stopped Bao and Sanbao, half refusing them. The 2 of you are now as heavy as piglets. 3 years ago, Master Grandpa could no longer carry you. By rushing over like this, you're going to break my bones. Sanbao, you're a big girl now. You have to walk over slowly. Otherwise, you will fall. If you fall, you'll get hurt and bleed. Don't cry then. Because at that point in time, Master Grandpa could no longer be by your side, wipe your tears, and coax you to smile. Master Grandpa. Sanbao blushed like a flower. Master Grandpa, is this dress pretty? Mom bought it for me. Pretty. Our Sanbao looks good in anything. Lin Yuankong opened his eyes wide. He couldn't bear to blink and just looked at Sanbao, then Bao and Dabao. In short, he wasn't willing to miss a glance at any of them. After today, our triplets will be 1 year older. The 3 of you are the most good-looking and smartest children I've ever seen. When you grow up, you have to be as outstanding as your mom, okay? Lin Yuankong knew that because of how outstanding Jiaonan was and how smart the 3 children were, people in the quad often praised that the Zai family was lucky to have good-looking and clever grandchildren. Such an advantage was already demonstrated when the 3 children were in kindergarten. At this moment, someone said things like one might be intelligent when young but not when older, and that the Zai family might have produced 3 children similar to Fang Zhonyang, the child prodigy who lost his talent when he was older. Faced with these malicious words, Lin Yuankong was angry. Chapter 1478, The Heaviness of a Tear. What Lin Yuankong could do was to try his best to keep the greatness of the triplets unchanged. Sanbao lifted her chin proudly like a peacock princess. But of course. My dad's formidable, my mom's formidable, so I'm formidable as well. De Bao, Bao, we are all formidable. Me. There's still me, there's still me. At this time, Xiao Bao jumped out to say that not only was he an obedient child but also smart. Master Grandpa, Xiao Bao's good as well. Xiao Bao will be 4 years old in a month's time. Xiao Bao will be the same as brothers and sister and be ranked first in future examinations. The triplets loved Lin Yuankong. Similarly, Xiao Bao was passionate toward Lin Yuankong as well. As the follower of the brothers and sister, Xiao Bao had all along looked up to them. Yes, Xiao Bao is a good child as well, Lin Yuankong smiled and replied. De Bao, who had been remaining quiet, walked to Lin Yuankong silently and wanted to pull his hand. Master Grandpa. Lin Yuankong smiled at De Bao and took the initiative to hold his hand. De Bao, you're Bao, San Bao and Xiao Bao's brother. You will have a heavier burden in the future. Master Grandpa knows that your life will be tough. So, Bao, San Bao, Xiao Bao, when you grow up, you have to work hard as well and make life easier for De Bao, understand? Master Grandpa, it's fine. Bao and the rest are already very good and obedient. I can do it. De Bao held Lin Yuankang's hand tightly. He didn't know what those words truly implied. He just felt that the words Master Grandpa said today were different from before. He was obviously smiling, but when he looked into his eyes and listened to his words, he felt that Master Grandpa was very upset. It was even sadder than when Bao, San Bao and Xiao Bao cried. As Master Grandpa was sad, he was sad as well. Zihua felt that something was amiss. She could feel that Elder Lin seemed to be handing over things that would happen in the future, as if he no longer had the chance to see the triplets grow up. As such, Elder Lin was talking to the 3 children about everything while he still had the ability to speak. Zihua glanced at Elder Lin and was surprised to see that he was much thinner now. After taking a closer look, even if he was wearing a loose, long-sleeved shirt in this hot weather, it was obvious that someone was propping his shirt up. This generally meant that the body under the shirt was too skinny and could no longer support the weight of the shirt. As a businessman, Tiandong was more sensitive than Zihua as his feelings for Elder Lin were not as deep as the Zai family's for him. As such, he had long noticed Elder Lin's anomaly. Tiandong initially thought that he was just sensitive. He also thought that perhaps Elder Lin wasn't feeling very well recently. For an old man like Elder Lin, he could easily lose half his life after having a small illness. It wasn't strange that he would become thinner after an illness. After listening to the words Elder Lin said to the 3 children, Tiandong was certain that he wasn't being sensitive. Indeed, Elder Lin wasn't in good condition. Seeing that his foolish wife was about to ask questions, Tiandong hurriedly pulled Zihua. He shook his head at her when she looked over, then used his eyes to signal to her to look at Zai Sheng and Qiao Nan. Until now, Qiao Nan had not uttered a single word. If it was the usual Qiao Nan, was this possible? Zihua's heart froze. She looked at Miao Jing. Miao Jing couldn't help but sigh and didn't say a word. Zihua felt like her face was being hammered. The joy from the previous second had completely disappeared. Now, her heart was stained with sadness and panic. Bao, San Bao, Xiao Bao, come over. Let Master Grandpa hug you, all right. Lin Yuankong couldn't hold these words back anymore. Initially, he wanted to just keep this to himself. However, in the face of the 4 children, especially the triplets, Lin Yuankong realized he wasn't as rational as he thought. He couldn't bear to leave these 3 children. He really couldn't. Master Grandpa. Bao started to feel that something was amiss and forced out a smile. Master Grandpa, you're weird. When you wanted to hug us in the past, you would pounce over loudly like a big tiger. As Bao thought he was playing with them, he deliberately sang a different tune and didn't let him hug him. In order to tease Bao, the more Bao said he refused to give him a hug, the more Lin Yuankang wanted to hug him. Master Grandpa. They were triplets after all. Once De Bao's and Bao's emotions weren't right, the smile on San Bao's face disappeared and a layer of clouds covered it. She pounced onto Elder Lin's knee. Master Grandpa, I'm afraid. However, she couldn't say exactly what she was afraid of. San Bao didn't understand. Wasn't it their birthday today? Why was it so strange this year, different from previous years? Why couldn't she smile today? Why didn't she feel blessed and happy at all at this moment? Xiao Nan felt so terrible that she couldn't breathe. She gently pushed the 4 children forward and pulled Lin Yuankang's hand, helping him hug them. This hug wasn't a hug in the traditional sense. At the very most, Lin Yuankang was catching the 4 children with difficulty with his outstretched hand. Lin Yuankang's chin gently touched the top of the 4 children's heads and he wanted to lean his body back. It was a pity he didn't have the strength. He wanted to sit back and let go of the 4 children. He was afraid they would find out about his unusual condition and didn't want to scare them. However, his withered body didn't listen to his command at all, and he had no strength. Before Zai Sheng could help Lin Yuankang, Xiao Nan stepped forward. She held his skinny arm with one hand and his crooked back with the other. Lin Yuankang, who had become so thin, weighed very little now. He was so light that even Xiao Nan, a woman who didn't have much strength, didn't have to spare much effort to lift him back to the wheelchair. Xiao Nan's tears fell uncontrollably and dripped onto the clothes on Lin Yuankang's back. As this tear was too heavy and dropped too quickly, no one but Lin Yuankang knew about its existence. Can we let the triplets make a wish and blow the candles? Lin Yuankang almost couldn't continue pretending with that tear. He asked weakly if it was time for the triplets to blow out the candles. Yes. Auntie, bring out the cake quickly. Remember to put the candles in. It was difficult for Miao Jing to recover from the shock. Chapter 1479, Old Master wasn't funny. At this point in time, nobody would object to Elder Lin's words. Old Master's eye sat quietly on the sofa. His lips curved slightly and he looked as kind as a Buddha. The ferociousness he had when he was young was gone, and he looked at this scene as if it were the evening sun. Lin Yuankang was slightly stunned and he made eye contact with Old Master's eye. Old Master's eye remained motionless while sitting but nodded to Lin Yuankang. It seemed like a greeting and also seemed to be acknowledging something. They had known each other for so many years. They knew it clearly how their tempers were like. Lin Yuankang wasn't suited for arousing enthusiasm while Old Master's eye wasn't suited for remaining quiet. At this age, both of them had done things that didn't suit their tempers. The answer was self-evident and so full of helplessness. Lin Yuankang smiled bitterly. He looked at the few children before him with heartache and couldn't say anything. The auntie still wasn't clear about the situation. After hearing Miao Jing's orders, she brought out the big cake Zai Sheng had ordered and placed it on the table. There were 7 candles on the cake, which meant that the children were now 7 years old. We can make a wish and blow out the candles. The 3 children didn't feel as happy as half an hour ago about the birthday celebration. De Bao led Bao and San Bao to stand in front of the big cake. They closed their eyes and made a wish. Xiao Bao, who was young and ignorant, joined in the excitement and followed what they did. After the 3 children made their wishes and blew out the candles, De Bao, who had always been quiet, suddenly said, "I made a wish just now, wishing for those who celebrated my birthday with me this year would also celebrate with me next year. If this could come true, he would only make this birthday wish every year from now on." De Bao's words shocked all the adults present. When De Bao spoke, he stared fixedly at Lin Yuankang. Obviously, his wish was directed mainly at Lin Yuankang. Lin Yuankang, moved and lost, glanced at Old Master's eye. He didn't know if those surnamed Zai would be angry upon hearing De Bao's wish. Old Master's eye smiled. Indeed, he was the eldest great-grandson he had brought up. He had said these words so beautifully. Even if De Bao's words were directed mainly at Elder Lin, he had incorporated everyone's thoughts, including his. He was such a clever and thoughtful great-grandson. How would he be angry? He was only happy. He had at least 1/3 of the credit for teaching such a great child. Old Master Zai wouldn't be so foolish to fight with Elder Lin over this. Furthermore, both of them already had 1 foot in the grave. What meaning was there to fight over this? He even found the man surnamed Lin to be childish. Since we have blown out the candles, let's cut the cake. Seeing that the usually cold old Master Zai was unusually gentle today and was the complete opposite of how he usually looked, Elder Lin thought that there was no meaning to this. I'll eat a little. Here, let's eat the cake, everyone. At this moment, Zai Sheng had already cut the cake. The auntie distributed the cut cake to everyone. The Tian couple took a few bites after receiving it. Father Tian got Mother Tian to sit beside him. At this moment, he became more determined to bring Mother Tian out for a walk. Having lived to this age, he didn't know when he and his wife would be the same as Elder Lin. By then, everything would be too late. Mother Tian seemed to have been affected quite a bit as well. She became quiet. Even when she saw how Xiao Bao was sticking closely to the triplets and looking at Xiao Nan with full admiration, she couldn't get jealous. The people from the Zai family sincerely treated Xiao Bao well. Even if Xiao Bao became closer to them, not only would he not learn the bad things, but he would even become better and better under their influence. Since it was good for Xiao Bao, why should she mind? Furthermore, Xiao Bao and the Zai family were close. Was Xiao Bao not close to her, his grandma? No, they were close. Xiao Bao still shared a good relationship with her. Xiao Bao didn't distance himself from her or dislike her because of the Zai family. The Zai family had such a good influence on Xiao Bao. Comparing with her husband and son, Xiao Bao would definitely benefit more in the future with the Zai family. As long as everything was good for Xiao Bao, she was willing to open her mind. After all, he was her biological grandson. Mother Tian held Father Tian's hand. Shall we postpone the trip? Elder Lin was left with only these couple of days. If they wanted to attend his funeral, their trip had to be put back. Father Tian wasn't in a hurry to travel. However, he shook his head at Mother Tian. No, I think that with Elder Lin's temper, he wouldn't want too many people to send him off the day he passed away. As long as the people most important to him are by his side to send him off, he should be satisfied. It was best for them, the outsiders, not to interfere especially at moments like these. I'll listen to you. Mother Tian's temper was exceptionally good today. Of course, she became easy to talk to as well. Whatever Father Tian said, she agreed. It was just that plans could never catch up with changes. The Tian couple could choose not to appear if Elder Lin passed away. However, with Old Master Zai following suit after him, as the in-laws and Old Master Zai's juniors, they couldn't not show up. After the triplets celebrated their birthday that night, or precisely, at 2 in the morning of the next day, Elder Lin smiled and passed away. The auntie who was taking care of Elder Lin was very upset. However, she remembered what Elder Lin had told her and didn't dare to tell this news to Jiao Nan and the 3 children. She only told Zai Sheng secretly. At that time, Zai Sheng was keeping guard of Old Master Zai, which was what he had been doing for the past 2 days. After finishing the call he had with the auntie hired by the Lin family, he returned to Old Master Zai's room. The moment he saw him, he suddenly realized that something was wrong with Old Master Zai. Zai Sheng frowned and walked to Old Master Zai's side. He touched his hand. Although there was still a bit of temperature in his hand, it was lower than the normal temperature of an average person's. Zai Sheng held his breath and placed 2 fingers on Old Master Zai's neck artery. There was no pulse. Old Master? Old Master? Grandpa? Grandpa? Zai Sheng couldn't help but push Old Master Zai. However, regardless of how he pushed him, old Master Zai didn't have any reaction. He seemed to have fallen into a deep sleep and couldn't wake up. "Grandpa, Grandpa, wake up! Don't crack such jokes! Grandpa!" Old Master Zai stopped breathing. His body became stiff and he couldn't be awakened. All of these indicated to Zai Sheng that old Master Zai was the same as Elder Lin. After the triplets' birthday, he passed away. Chapter 1480, he had obviously made a wish. At this point in time, Zai Sheng couldn't calm down. He notified Zai Yaowai and Miaojing at the fastest speed and called Zai Hua and Qiao Nan up. Dawn was just breaking. However, there was a huge commotion in the Zai family. Upon hearing Zai Sheng's words, Zai Yaowai and Miaojing were so shocked that they just wore one piece of clothing and rushed downstairs without wearing their shoes. After entering old Master Zai's room and looking at this situation, he said, "Dad, wake up! Wake up! Doctor, call the doctor quickly!" The auntie looked panicked. "I've already made the call. The doctor should be here soon." The people who lived in this quad were important political figures in China. Units like the hospital would naturally not be too far away from them. Once the hospital received the Zai family's call, the doctor immediately rushed over at the fastest speed. "Excuse me, let me do a check on the elder." After the doctor confirmed that his vital signs were gone and even his eyeballs had become cloudy, he shook his head helplessly. "Sorry, the elder has already passed away. It could be seen that he left peacefully, so it's a joyous passing." Everyone knew that old Master Zai was always in good health condition and rarely visited their hospital. Old Master Zai didn't suffer from any illness or pain and had left peacefully in his dreams. Among the veteran revolutionaries, old Master Zai could be said to have left the most peacefully. It wasn't an exaggeration to call it a joyous passing. Since it was a joyous passing, the Zai family didn't need to be too upset. However, the problem was that their closest relative was gone. How was it possible that the sadness in their hearts decreased just because it was a joyous passing? "Dad!" Miaojing was mournful. She had been caring about Elder Lin and didn't notice her father-in-law's condition at all. He was all good. Why did this happen? Zai Yaowai's face turned pale. He walked up and grabbed old Master Zai's stiffened hand and was speechless for a long time. "Grandpa? It's impossible. He wouldn't. He was still happily celebrating the triplets' birthday yesterday. It has only been a night. No, this must be a mistake." Upon thinking about how he looked yesterday and how he looked now, he didn't seem to have passed away at all. "Grandpa, wake up quickly! Since when did you love to crack jokes? This isn't funny at all. The 4 children will wake up in 2 hours' time. When they're awake and you're not, they will laugh at you for being old." Zai Hua wanted to pull old Master Zai up from the bed. Tian Dong reached out to stop her. "Hua, I know you can't accept this in a short period of time. However, Grandpa's really gone. Don't be like this. If not, Grandpa won't leave peacefully." Tian Dong was surprised as well. He only knew that Elder Lin's health wasn't good. Old Master Zai didn't look like he was going to pass away at all. Just a few hours ago, they were still with them, celebrating the triplets' birthday together and eating cake. How did someone just pass away within such a short period of time? Even Tian Dong was confused, let alone Zai Hua. He felt that he was having a nightmare and that everything before him wasn't real. But the sad atmosphere in the Zai family told Tian Dong that all of this had really happened and it wasn't a dream. Old Master Zai had really passed away. Oh, right, what about Elder Lin? Old Master Zai was no longer around. Would something happen to Elder Lin, whose health was worse than Old Master Zai's, as well? I'll call and check. Qiao Nan, whose hands and legs went soft, looked the worst among them. Old Master Zai's sudden death was too sudden for anyone in the Zai family. It was simply too shocking. What shocked Qiao Nan more was that she didn't know how her master was now. There's no need for that. Around half an hour ago, Elder Lin has passed away as well. Zai Sheng, who had just returned after contacting the auntie from the Lin family, said in a hoarse voice, Dongzi, father and I are here for the old master. Can I trouble you to go next door and change Elder Lin into some decent clothes? When the auntie from the Lin family received Zai Sheng's call that old master Zai had passed away as well, she shouted, "Oh, God!" She didn't know what day it was today. Why did both Elder Lin and old master Zai pass away? Nan Nan. Zai Hua saw Xiao Nan's eyes roll back into her head and her body went soft after Zai Sheng said that Elder Lin had passed away half an hour ago. Zai Hua hurriedly reached out and grabbed Xiao Nan, who had fainted, when her body swayed forward. Xiao Nan fainted from the agitation, and Zai Sheng and Zai Hua were in a flurry. As Miao Jing cried, she squeezed the towel. Go and wipe Nan Nan's face. What exactly is going on? Why is everything happening at the same time? How can Nan Nan handle such a huge blow? When she heard the old master was no longer around, she noticed that something was wrong with Nan Nan. When Nan Nan heard that Elder Lin had passed away half an hour earlier than the old master, how could she handle this huge blow? Miao Jing took a wet towel and walked to Jiao Nan, wanting to wipe her face for her. Then, she saw a barefooted small figure with his eyes red at the door. Miao Jing's heart shuddered. De Bao, why are you here? Before making the arrangements for the old man's passing, the adults in the family planned not to tell the triplets and Xiao Bao first, for fear that they would be scared. But when Miao Jing took a closer look, De Bao was already standing at old Master Zai's door. De Bao, you! How long have you been standing here? Seeing that De Bao's eyes were red, Miao Jing wasn't able to self-comfort that De Bao didn't hear anything and that he didn't understand what was meant by his great-grandpa was no longer around. After the breath in her heart eased, Xiao Nan coincidentally heard Miao Jing's words to De Bao. Xiao Nan's tears fell and she waved her hands at De Bao. De Bao dashed toward Xiao Nan and snuggled tightly next to her. However, his eyes kept looking at old Master Zai. Xiao Nan carried De Bao up and placed him on her knee. Why did you come over without putting on shoes? De Bao's feet were cold. His mom was holding his legs with warm hands. Unlike the past, De Bao didn't feel any happiness or his mom's love for him. He was very scared at this moment. Mom, what happened to great-grandpa? What about Master Grandpa? I want Master Grandpa. Will they still celebrate my birthday with me next year? I even made a birthday wish.